good afternoon. We're live here from Bloomington Jefferson High School for girls soccer action as we're just underway here in the first half. 38 minutes and 30 seconds left. Here in high school soccer, the halves are just 40 minutes long, and of course, as you might imagine, no score yet in this game, as trying to dribble it along that sideline. The near side was Stephanie Syverson of Apple Valley. They'll throw it in. And now we'll have a scrum for the ball near the 20-yard line as they're playing here on the turf field. And now Silverson will dribble it out of bounds and actually bank it off a Jefferson defender. That was Andra Johnson, and we'll get a corner kick here with just under 38 minutes to go here in the first half in this girls soccer game. Glad to have you with us here on PSB Media. Whether you're watching us live on our psbmn.com website or if you happen to be watching on BEC TV, glad to have you with us. As no one's home on that corner kick attempt, as Apple Valley applying some pressure and being forced out of bounds was number 16, Maddie Kramer, one of the senior captains here for this Eagles girls soccer team. And now Jefferson will just clear it out of bounds. Both teams on the season come in with identical 0-2-1 records, although both teams do have expectations to be better than they were last season, as it's played in to the Apple Valley zone, and a little miscommunication there between Sarah Schumacher trying to hook up with Britta Bullman on that pass. It goes out of bounds, and it'll be Jefferson ball as it's thrown in far side. It'll be Jamie Peterson sending it down low into the far side corner. Centering pass in front to Isabel Nutting. Nutting will lose it, and now it's cleared out to near midfield. Playing it up ahead to number 6, Erica Power of Apple Valley. Power sends it ahead to her teammate, that's number 10, Julia Lamb. Lamb drops it off for Stephanie Syverson. Syverson's centering pass out in front, and now it'll be cleared by Jefferson's senior attacker, who did a nice job getting back on defense. That's Megan Summers, and now we'll go out of bounds. Again, thanks for tuning into our broadcast here of our coverage of soccer here on PSB Media, our first ever soccer broadcast here on our psbmn.com website. This season we're broadcasting Eden Prairie and Bloomington high school sports. Our goal this season is to try to do one event of every single sport at the schools that we cover. So getting our feet wet here covering this soccer game. Also have another Jefferson soccer game coming up later this month, as that's up ahead to Apple Valley Stephanie Syverson. Syverson battling for it, got a good job as 3 Jefferson defenders converge on her. That'll go out of bounds and be, it looks like, Apple Valley ball. We'll have coverage of the Jefferson boys soccer game when they take on, I believe it's Eastview, on September 24th. We'll also have a couple of Eden Prairie and Bloomington Kennedy soccer games as well, as we're proud to bring a coverage here of some different sports. How about that move? Little somersault there by number 3, Sydney Bethke. A little fancy on the throw-in. Got a chuckle out of my cameraman, Krister Woodley. I don't think Krister ever did that when he played soccer, throwing it in. And it'll be played out to midfield, off the chest of an Apple Valley midfielder. It'll be number 23, Hallie Gallimere, and she'll try to chase it down before it goes out of bounds. She does at least get it to midfield before it went out, but Jefferson momentarily had possession. In fact, they do take over possession as it's ahead to the far side. I believe that's number 5, Jamie Peterson. Peterson works her way around one defender, centers it. There's a weak shot, and a save is made by Marissa Jalou. And actually it goes in. I'm sorry, I was looking down at my roster, making sure I had the right goalkeeper, and as I said that, Jefferson gets on the scoreboard. So Bloomington Jefferson strikes first. Big goal for them, because Bloomington Jefferson had not scored a goal in 3 games. 1-0 for the Jaguars here in this game. I have to get word on who exactly got that goal. As I was saying, though, Jefferson had been shut out in their past 2 games. They lost to a very good Edina team last week by a score of 8-0. That was on Thursday night. And they had a scoreless draw against Rochester Century back on Saturday, August 24th. Prior to that, when they scored their last goal, they lost a tough game to Anoka 3-2 in their opener on Thursday, August 22nd. That's a very good Anoka team that Jefferson came very close to beating. Anoka was a team that actually, I believe, made their section championship last year, and Jefferson, despite losing 3-2 to Anoka in that opening game, actually outshot the Tornadoes by a 19-11 margin. So again, 1-0 Bloomington Jefferson with the lead here against Apple Valley, as we have just under 33 minutes to go here in the first half, as we'll get a whistle on the field. And it looks like it will go against Jefferson, as Apple Valley will get an indirect kick. Apple Valley also comes in with an 0-2-1 record. Tell you more about how they got to that 0-2-1 record as the broadcast goes on. Here's Julia Lamb sending it up ahead in the middle, where the attacker for Apple Valley, will run into a couple of Jefferson defenders. And Lamb jumps up on the play, takes a shot from just beyond the 20-yard line on the football field. It goes wide, though, to the left. And it'll be Bloomington Jefferson ball. Jefferson does rotate 2 goalkeepers. They've at least used both of their goalkeepers listed on the roster so far this season. They have Madeline Haast and Kristen Veerling as their 2 goalkeepers. Haas just a freshman and Veerling a sophomore. The 2 youngest players on the team, because outside of that, it's pretty much a team dominated with juniors and seniors. And they try to lead up ahead to Jamie Peterson. It'll be tracked down, though, by Marissa Jalou. It was a good idea, as they did have Peterson cutting in towards the goal. A good anticipation, though, by the goalkeeper Jalou. Jefferson will play it up and kick it out of bounds on the far side, and it should be Apple Valley ball. In addition to our coverage of soccer, of course, here on PSB, we'll also stream every football game for Bloomington Jefferson and Bloomington Kennedy. In fact, speaking of which, Bloomington Jefferson plays Apple Valley, coincidentally, this Friday night in a big football game down in Apple Valley. It's a 7 o'clock start on Friday night. We'll have it for you here on PSB Media. Also have coverage of that Kennedy football game as they're hosting, I think it's Lakeville South. I know it's one of the Lakeville teams that they'll be hosting on Friday night. We'll have coverage of that game, courtesy of BEC TV, as we'll simulcast their feed, as we're glad to have them as one of our broadcast partners this season, as we had last season when we covered Bloomington Kennedy winter and spring sports. Apple Valley takes possession. They'll try to dump it up ahead to Alyssa Reynolds. They overshot her by quite a bit, and that allows the Jefferson defense to regroup, and the ball will go out of bounds along that far side. So it'll be a throw-in for the Eagles with 29 minutes and 48 seconds left here in the first half. Bloomington Jefferson with a 1-0 lead. Here's the throw-in. It'll be a shallow throw into Julia Lamb. Lamb will send it along the end line, where it's cleared out by Jefferson. And not able to get a foot on it was, it looks like, I believe, Daggert. It'll go out of bounds and be Apple Valley ball. Into Britta Bolam. Bolam will lose it. And now here's Julie Peterson sending it up ahead. Peterson may have had an odd player rush if she had received that clear attempt cleanly, I should say. And out will be into the keeper, Marissa Jalou, a senior goalkeeper for this Apple Valley girls soccer team. Headed to number 5, Julie Peterson. Peterson will lose it, though, to Apple Valley's Sarah Schumacher, and it will go out of bounds. This is an Apple Valley team that returns 10 starters off last year's team. The Apple Valley squad that finished one game over 500, so some expectations out of their team this season. And as Coach Keith Ronda said in a newspaper article a couple of weeks ago, that he has a lot of varsity experience on his team at forward and at midfield, and a couple of people who've shown they can put the ball in the net. Some of the big returning players for Apple Valley include senior midfielder Julia Lamb, who was an All-South Suburban Conference player last season. As Keith Ronda, the head coach of Apple Valley, says, Lamb can play several positions and is especially good in one-on-one situations, and already we've called her name several times so far in this game. Headed to the far side by Hallie Galmere. She's a senior midfielder for Apple Valley, as we'll have a scrum for it here midfield, where it's finally dumped into the Jefferson zone and to the Jefferson defense, where it'll be tracked down by Erica Beek. Beek will pass it off to a teammate, but it'll be deflected out of bounds off an Apple Valley attack player, and it'll be the Jaguars' ball here with 27 minutes to go here in the first half. Again, Bloomington Jefferson with a 1-0 lead here in this game, as they scored about 5 minutes into this game. Will be cleared into Apple Valley territory. An Eagle player falls to her feet, and the ball will roll out of bounds near the Apple Valley bench. And it'll be a Jaguars ball. There's the throw-in. They'll get it in to number 17, Kate Deming, a junior attack player for Jefferson. Now Apple Valley with possession, as they try to hit, I believe it's number 17, Alyssa Reynolds, in transition. Just couldn't connect on that pass as it went out of bounds near the Jefferson bench. Now it'll be Jefferson with the ball, as they'll play it out towards midfield. A couple of players battle for it near now the Apple Valley bench. And the ball rolls out, and it looks like it will be Jaguars' ball. Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. It'll be Apple Valley ball. Pretty nice day here at the turf field in Bloomington on the campus of Jefferson High School. It's kind of a unique setup this year with both the boys and girls soccer teams at Jefferson and Kennedy. Usually on game days, one team will have a home game at Bloomington Stadium, and one team will have a home game at their turf field. Tonight it's the girls playing here at the turf field at the campus of Jefferson High School. I believe the boys playing over at Bloomington Stadium. In fact, I believe BEC TV is covering the boys soccer game for Jefferson tonight, so you can make it a double header for you, as you can of course watch our broadcast here of the girls game between Apple Valley and Jefferson, and also tune in to the boys soccer game a little bit later on tonight. I think it's 7 o'clock as the kickoff time. Get a double dose of soccer today and see what both of these Jefferson teams have so far this season. Under 25 minutes to go, first half. 1-0 Bloomington Jefferson with the lead over Apple Valley here on PSB Media. Glad to have you with us. My name is Brett Johnson. Be joined a little bit later here on the broadcast by Kevin Hagstrom. He knows a lot more about soccer than I do, so I'll be glad to have him fill in with some of the more intricate aspects of the game. He is a varsity soccer player at Roseville High School, so we'll look forward to having him on the broadcast with us, probably the second half, and also joined here by our cameraman, Krister Woodley. As we're excited here to bring you some coverage of girls soccer. Apple Valley with possession of the ball. Maddie Kramer, the midfielder, will pass it right side. Now it's played up ahead into a scrum at center. It'll be turned over to Jefferson, where it's played near side. Good hustle and good speed shown off by Bloomington Jefferson's Kate Deming. Deming with the ball. She'll play it back to Lindsey Johnson. Johnson fires one from long distance, and it'll bounce into the hands of goalkeeper Marissa Jalou. As Jalou will punt it out towards midfield. Ball up in the air. It'll be headed back into the Jefferson zone. Good job as they try to hit a player streaking in towards the Apple Valley zone. It was a good idea, but the defense of the Eagles was able to break it up. And going back and forth here at midfield, Jefferson comes away with possession. They try to hit another player with that running start, this time looking for Kate Deming. Doesn't quite work, but Jefferson will get another chance here from the far side. Good block by the Apple Valley defense. I believe it was Schumacher making that block as it'll go out of bounds. And we'll get a substitution here for Bloomington Jefferson as we have just under 23 minutes to go here in the first half. 1-0 Jaguars lead the Eagles as it'll be thrown in. And played out towards center. Kicked in the air up ahead. Trying to kind of gallop and get possession of the ball was a Jefferson player, but it looks like we are going to get an infraction called against Bloomington Jefferson as Apple Valley will take possession of the ball. Jalou will get ready for the goal kick. Senior goalkeeper for Apple Valley. Let's take a look at Apple Valley's results so far this season. Their opening game back on Thursday, August 22nd. They had a 1-1 draw against Owatonna. After that opening draw, they dropped a couple of one-goal games as they lost on Saturday, August 24th to Minneapolis Southwest by a 1-0 score. And they also lost to Stillwater out of the Suburban East Conference by a score of 2-1. So Apple Valley, like Jefferson, comes in with an 0-2-1 record. Well, Jefferson's certainly done a nice job over the past 5 minutes or so as they've really kind of tilted the field in their favor, as it's been all Jefferson in terms of time of possession, as the referee will make sure everybody's all set here for this indirect kick. Trying to catch the number here of the player indirect kicking it for Jefferson. As the shot will go just wide. That was Megan Summers on the attempt for Bloomington Jefferson. Kind of tough to see the numbers when you have white jerseys and light blue numbers. Of course, sometimes you can get those ponytails on those jerseys as well. Apple Valley will inbound it from the far side. In their own zone, they'll throw it up ahead towards midfield. Good throw-in as Apple Valley at least is able to send it into the Bloomington Jefferson zone. And a good hustle as it's taken over by Erica Power. Power with a weak shot, and an easy stop is made by the Jefferson goalkeeper. Good offensive sequence there for Apple Valley in transition. All started with a good throw-in as the Eagles will try to get some offense going after Jefferson had dominated the past 5 or 6 minutes or so. Apple Valley will get the throw-in from just about the same spot they had last time when they started that quick transition sequence. Again, one of those players to watch in transition is Julia Lamb, who Coach Keith Ronda was talking about. A very versatile player who can play in lots of positions. Also a good one-on-one player, as we saw a moment ago, where she almost made a move around a Jefferson defender, was able to put a weak shot on goal, but it was stopped. That was about a minute or so ago. So 1-0 Jefferson, still with a lead, though. And a nice move made by Jefferson's Megan Summers. Launched at the net, and that's a tougher save than it looks for Marissa Jalou, as that ball was kind of hanging in the air. Those are sometimes the toughest saves for a goalkeeper to make when that ball just hangs and hangs and hangs in the air. Sometimes it can just kind of drop over your head. Here's Sydney Bethke for Apple Valley. She'll tip it right side for a teammate, and now along that right sideline, the ball trickles out of bounds. That'll be Bloomington Jefferson possession. And a tough pass is picked off. Now Apple Valley with a chance. Dribbling around one player is Stephanie Syverson. Here's Syverson, and it's just rolls slowly into the goalkeeper for Bloomington Jefferson. So a couple of chances for Apple Valley these past few minutes in transition. Well, they haven't really been able to cash in with any powerful shots. Is Jefferson still with a 1-0 lead? Now Jefferson with possession. They're starting to put the pressure on, and good defensive play. I believe it was Bloomington Jefferson's. I believe it was Peterson doing a nice job on defense there for the Jaguars. $17:20 to go, first half here on PSB Media, coverage of girls high school soccer. Glad to have you with us for this afternoon's contest, first ever soccer broadcast here on PSB. As again this season we're covering Bloomington Jefferson and Bloomington Kennedy sports in addition to Eden Prairie High School sports, kind of hitting up that whole southwest metro area. This season our goal is to cover one sport or one broadcast of every sport this season. We'll of course be covering football as well as soccer. Have a couple of volleyball games on our broadcast schedule, and even some swimming and diving. And if things work out, may even try to add a tennis match to our broadcast schedule as well. Kicked up into the air. I think it may have hit the hand of an Apple Valley player. They'll let play continue. Gallagher's pass is deflected, and Lamb will play that up ahead. It's deflected off of number 6, Erica Power. Good defensive play, though, by Jefferson, as they'll try to get something going in transition. Couldn't catch the number there of who had the good defensive play for the Jaguars. Now a battle for it along the near sideline. It's won by Apple Valley, though, as Tana Oliette will shoot it up ahead. And now it's deflected off the bounds, or out of bounds. So 15 minutes on the dot to go here in the first half. That'll be Julia Lamb for Apple Valley, losing it to a Jefferson player. Now Jefferson with a 2-on-2 if they hurry. Good job by a few Apple Valley players getting back on defense as the 2-on-2 turns into a 2-on-4. 1-0 Bloomington Jefferson with the lead. Glad to have you with us again as Jalou will kick it up towards midfield. Really have kind of settled into a sequence here in the last 15 or 20 minutes or so where Jefferson will really dominate play for about 2 minutes, then Apple Valley will dominate play for about 2 minutes as both teams have really started to settle in here in this game. The difference, though, is that Jefferson goal that they scored about 5 minutes into the ball game, as again Jefferson has a 1-0 lead here on PSB. Anna Batts over there battling for it for Bloomington Jefferson. And I believe Jefferson will get a corner kick out of that sequence. On the corner for Jefferson, it'll be Sydney Bramer. Bramer launches it towards the goal. Summers tried to make an awkward kick. And well, I think that'd be 3 points if it were football. Fortunately, though, that doesn't count in soccer, so it'll be a goal kick for Apple Valley and their goalkeeper, Marissa Jalou, as we have 12:48 to go here in the first half. Here from the turf field at Jefferson High School. Again, the Jefferson Boys High School soccer team plays tonight at 7 o'clock. BEC TV with coverage of that game from the big stadium, just a little bit down the road from Jefferson High School over on Penn Avenue. One-on-one battle there in the near corner between Apple Valley's Alyssa Reynolds and a Bloomington Jefferson player. Looked like that was Jamie Peterson. It'll be kicked up ahead into Apple Valley territory. Giving chase as Peterson, an Apple Valley player falls down. Unfortunately, Peterson tripped over the Apple Valley player who had fallen down. That stopped her momentum. And perhaps a scoring chance, although she would have had a couple of other Apple Valley defenders to beat, even if she was able to get around the defender who was on the ground. Now it's Apple Valley with possession on the far side. They'll send it towards the center to Syverson. Now a Jefferson player goes down, and she's a little slow to get up. And Apple Valley will bring in a substitution. As it looks like Reynolds may be checking out of the game. Laura Jimena will set it up on that far sideline. It'll be kicked out of the zone by Olivia Flynn of Apple Valley. Now along that far sideline, both teams battling for possession as now it goes near side and close to going out of bounds, but good stop there by Julia Lamb with a fancy little move around a Jefferson defender. It's played out to number 13, Olivia Flynn at center, where she'll lose it. And now Bloomington Jefferson takes possession with 10:38 to go here in the first half. It'll be Blair Thompson. Centering pass was kicked away by a few Apple Valley defenders. Jefferson player falls to the turf, and it looks like we will get a fraction against Apple Valley as Jefferson will have a long indirect kick. As Plampton for Jefferson will send that straight to the goal. He was trying to find a couple of players who were streaking down there towards the Apple Valley goal. Just a little bit too much mustard on that indirect kick, and it went into Melissa Jalou, the goalkeeper for the Eagles. Jefferson with it along the far sideline, where it'll be played by number 15, Sarah Schumacher. Schumacher will lose it out of bounds, apparently. It'll be Jefferson ball, but at the very least for Apple Valley, it will allow them to set up their defense, as they'll get a substitution for Bloomington Jefferson. 9-11 here in the first half on PSBMN.com as it's thrown in. And it'll be deflected out of bounds off a Jefferson player, so it'll be a goal kick here for Apple Valley. A little bit different here in high school soccer. They go with what I call the Americanized style of timekeeping, where time actually runs down rather than up, like you of course see in Premier League soccer or international soccer, where the clock ticks up instead of down. Here in high school soccer, though, goes down instead of up, and I think that makes it easier for a lot of people, especially when you don't know how long exactly the halves are. When the clock counts up, and if you don't know how long the half is, well, you're kind of in trouble trying to figure out exactly how much time you got. But right here at Jefferson High School, we have 8:10 to go here in the first half. Apple Valley will have the ball at midfield, as they'll send in about 5 players into the attack zone. Off the set piece, it was kicked just a little bit too far. That allowed Jefferson to clear it. It's back to Apple Valley, though, as it goes kind of back and forth there in midfield between both teams. Now finally set up ahead as they were looking for Erica Power. Trying to go towards the Jefferson net, though. It was headed away. Now a one-on-one battle between Megan Summers and Brittany Bolam of Apple Valley. Comes away to Jefferson. I'll try to send it up ahead, but it's deflected back into the Jefferson zone. Now along the near sideline, it'll go out of bounds. And it looks like it will be Bloomington Jefferson ball. Quickly thrown in by Peterson. Brittany Bolam will battle it out with Jefferson's Lauren Hamena. Hamema will kick it along the near sideline, where it'll be retrieved by number 11, Tana Omiette. Omiette battling for it. She'll lose it out of bounds, but it'll be off a Jefferson player, so the Eagles will maintain possession. Laura Edgren to Stephanie Syverson. Syverson, good short pass to Hallie Galmier. Galmier tries to start something in transition, but their pass will be intercepted by a Bloomington Jefferson player as they'll look to go the other way. As we have 6.5 minutes to go here in the first half, Bloomington Jefferson leads Apple Valley 1-0. Here from Jefferson High School. Physical play there is Olivia Flynn, and Apple Valley will take over. Another pass is intercepted, though, and played back into the AV zone. Now a battle forward at midfield will come away to Apple Valley. Being shoved to the ground, a little bit too much shoulder on it by Bloomington Jefferson's Laura Hamema. Emma kind of stuck her hands in the air saying, "I didn't do it," but she just did get her shoulder into that Apple Valley player, so it'll be Schumacher here on the set piece for Apple Valley. As the Eagles struggling now with their passing, as that one was deflected away by the Jefferson defense and played right back into the Apple Valley zone here with 5 minutes and 36 seconds to go. And good job to clear that out of harm's way by the defender there in the corner. That was Britta Dawson. And it'll be deflected out of bounds, and it will be Apple Valley ball, it looks like, as Laura Edgren will throw it in for the Eagles. Again, this is a veteran Apple Valley team that returns 10 starters off their squad from last year. It was an Apple Valley team that last season went 8-7-2 as they were eliminated in the Section 3 AA semifinals last season. Good move there made by a Jefferson player, and a centering one-time shot is saved. A center to 2. Looks like I can't catch the number over there for Jefferson. Perhaps Lindsay Werner. But the save was made by Marissa Jalou. A good job cutting off that angle. Also an Apple Valley team that's very capable of having big offensive outbursts. If you look at their first 3 games this season and their 17 games that they played last season, scored 37 goals, so they averaged 1.7 goals per game. Pretty good clip. In fact, last season they actually started their first 5 games by outscoring opponents by a 15-2 margin. Fortunately, though, Apple Valley went into kind of a funk, I guess you'd call it, last season once they got into conference play. They had some trouble with some big South Suburban Conference opponents and had a losing streak, so even though they started the season 4-0-1, they finished just 8-7-1. Big reason why that South Suburban Conference, one of the toughest conferences to play in here in girls high school soccer. A lot of good teams in that league, including Lakeville North, always a very tough matchup. Burnsville and Rosemount also expected to have good teams this season. And both these programs trying to make strides, Apple Valley and Jefferson, as both do return a number of players from last year's squad. And it's kind of looking for improvement, even though they might not be able to stay with some of the top-tier teams here in the league. It'll be thrown in, and dangerous play is cleared away by Apple Valley's Tana Omet. And a backwards kick is sent back in to the Apple Valley end. Now at center, a scrum for the ball comes away to Jefferson's Laura Hamema, and she'll follow the ground, and we might get a push against Apple Valley, and I believe that will be the call. So with 1:50 to go here in the first half, Jefferson will get a pretty good chance here to try to get on the scoreboard for the second time here in this game. And the Jaguars have a 1-0 lead here on PSB Media over Apple Valley. Should be a direct kick for Bloomington Jefferson. Means it will not have to hit anybody. It can go directly in the net for it to count as a goal. There's a shot right on, and it goes just wide of the net. As we have 1 minute to go here in the first half. See if Apple Valley will try to get any last-minute offense going. They'll just try to kill the clock, in essence, and not get too aggressive here in their own zone. Be played back to number 20, Britta Bolam. Boland sets it up ahead to the near sideline to a number 8, Laura Edgren. Edgren will pass it to number 17, Alyssa Reynolds. Reynolds battling for it against a Jefferson player. It'll go out of bounds, and Apple Valley will have a throw in with 15 seconds to go. 8 seconds. Time running out here on Apple Valley. It'll go out of bounds, and that might bring us to halftime. And indeed it will bring us to halftime as Bloomington Jefferson has a 1-0 lead over Apple Valley here on PSB Media. Glad to have you with us. A pretty well played first half between both of these teams, considering we are pretty early in the season. I'm sure both these squads will look a lot different as we head towards the section playoff play in late October. But pretty even matchup so far, but Jefferson has the 1 goal here in this game. Take a timeout. We'll return, probably in about 10 minutes or so for second half action. This is coverage of girls high school soccer right here on PSB Media. And welcome back to the turf field here at Jefferson High School as we're about ready to go here in the second half. It's 1-0 Bloomington Jefferson with the lead over Apple Valley here on PSBMN.com. Isabel Nutting had the goal for Jefferson about 5 minutes into the game. She was assisted by Jamie Peterson, senior defender for the Jaguars on that goal. Again, came very early in the ball game. Also for Bloomington Jefferson, Kristen Veerling is their starting goaltender. Was trying to pick that up as well, but they were able to get the PA system working over here at the turf field, so got that straightened out as well. Well, already a scrum to get going here in the second half between Bloomington Jefferson's Laura Hamema and Apple Valley's Kirsten Nelson. So it'll be Apple Valley ball. Bloomington Jefferson will kick it up ahead where it's shot back in by number 5, Stephanie Severson. Up into the air, Jefferson will play that up ahead to number 3, Isabel Nutting, the goal scorer from earlier in the game, but she's offsides and it'll be Apple Valley ball. He played into the Bloomington Jefferson zone, but is deflected out of bounds. Missing on the heading attempt was Isabel Nutting. As Apple Valley coming out with a little bit more energy here in this first half. With the ball for Apple Valley is number 4, Blair Thompson. She'll send it in towards center, trying to get the ball with Sydney Bethke. Lose it though momentarily. Jefferson unable to clear as it comes back to Blair Thompson. Thompson will get it back again. She'll pass it back to a teammate. A long shot attempt is blocked by the Jefferson defense. And that will be number 9 for Apple Valley, who will play that up ahead to Blair Thompson. Thompson's centering attempt deflected away by the Jaguar defense. That will be the speedy Julia Lamb. Lamb sends that up ahead to center. Back to Lamb on the give and go. Lamb's shot deflected up into the air. Eagles definitely coming out with the pressure here in this second half, as just a little over 37 minutes to go as Bloomington Jefferson has the 1-0 lead here on PSBMN.com. Apple Valley from the far sideline. They'll dribble in towards the goal, but good defensive play as one of the Jaguar defenders was able to momentarily kick it out of harm's way. Redirected back into the zone. Now up ahead to Isabel Nutting. Nutting will lose it though to Britta Bolam. Bolam from the far side. It'll be kicked out of bounds, and it should be Apple Valley ball. Scrum forward at center. A couple of Jefferson fans thought Nutting was shoved on that play. Play continues though. From center, it's kicked over to number 4, Blair Thompson. Here's Thompson with it. Can't get around the Jefferson defender as it goes out of bounds. It's Tana Zaid doing a nice job forcing the Apple Valley player out of bounds. Zayed will kick it up into the air. It's headed out towards midfield, where it's Jamie Peterson battling against a couple of Eagle players. The Eagles come away with it as it's kicked ahead by Laura Edgren to a teammate. And it goes into the hands of goalkeeper Kristen Vierling of Bloomington Jefferson. And she'll punt that high into the air. A couple of players attempt to head for it. It come away to Jefferson as it goes out towards midfield and hits the scorer's table. And I believe it will be Apple Valley ball. 35 minutes to go, second half here on PSB Media. As Hallie Galmier sends it far side to number 20, Britta Bolam. Bolam over to Blair Thompson. Thompson handed out of bounds for just a moment, so it'll be a turnover to Bloomington Jefferson. Sent towards the Apple Valley net. It'll be retrieved by Marissa Galoo. Galoo will kick that out towards midfield, right into the foot of Sydney Bramer. As we'll have a little under 34 minutes to go. Second half, Jefferson still clinging to that 1-0 lead. And both teams 0-2-1 so far on the season. They also finished with identical 2-5-1 records in conference play last season. Coming way out of her net was Marissa Galoo to break up that play. Pretty risky play, but it pays off for Apple Valley as she's able to keep it out of the net. Both these teams just kind of looking to break through after being around the 500 mark the past few years. Apple Valley 8-7-2 last season. 2011 they were 6-10-2. In 2010 11-6-2. Unfortunately for Apple Valley, they've not been able to break through in Section 3. They've been eliminated in the Section 3 AA semifinals the past two seasons. 2010, they did actually manage to make it to the Section 3 championship, where they lost in that section final. Bloomington Jefferson, they're trying to get back with a winning season.
Kate Deming in for the Jaguars.
Last time Jefferson had a winning season was 2010, when they finished 13-5-1, as they lost in the Section 2 AA championship to Eden Prairie that season. Jefferson also had winning seasons in 2008 and 2009, so trying to get back on that winning track after having losing seasons in 2011 and 2012. Last season overall finished with a record of 4-11-2. But it is a Jefferson team that Coach Sarah Connolly is optimistic about, as Connolly called last season a rebuilding year for Jefferson. It's a team that only had 3 seniors on the roster. This season, 15 seniors on the squad, so a lot more experience. And they'll need that experience to help hold off this Apple Valley rally, as the Eagles have really had all the pressure so far here in the second half. And the Eagles do have plenty of time here to try to tie this ball game up, as we still have over 31 minutes to go here in the game. Temperature pretty comfortable out here at Bloomington Jefferson's brand new turf field. In fact, I heard from the PA announcer at halftime, once they got their sound system working, that this is the first game that Jefferson's played here on this turf field. As Megan Summers for Jefferson. She'll send it back to her defense. The pass up ahead is intercepted by number 6 Erica Power, one of the captains on this Apple Valley squad. Bethke will send it up ahead to Laura Edgren. Edgren will lose it, though, to Bloomington Jefferson's Megan Summers. There's Summers with the ball. She'll try to go far side. She does connect with number 17, Kate Deming. Deming tips it up ahead. Now it's to number 10, Megan Dahlmert. Now a chance for Jefferson, and they're going to score and take a 2-0 lead. Good offensive play getting behind that Apple Valley defense as they caught Marissa Galoo coming out a little bit too far out of the net. And scoring again is going to be Isabel Nutting for the Jaguars. Goal number 2 on the game, as you may have heard the PA announcer say in the background. So, good game so far for Isabel Nutting, and tough blow for Apple Valley, since they had really put on the pressure here in this second half. But Jaguars take advantage of their chances and now lead this game 2-0. Still plenty of time for Apple Valley. They're certainly getting enough offense, and now the goal scorer, Isabel Nutting. I'm thrilled that it's going to be Apple Valley ball, as it'll be Blair Thompson to throw it in. Kicked way up into the air in midfield, where it's played up ahead to number 17, Deming. And Deming falls to the ground, and we are going to get a call by the officials as she was chased down by Maddie Cranmer. So the Jaguars will have possession here on the set piece. Kick will be a little bit beyond that 30-yard line, as it'll be sent in towards the net. Knocked away, though, by the Apple Valley defense. Still not cleared out of the zone yet, as Jefferson will try to kick it back in. Apple Valley does finally come away with it, but again the clearing attempt is blocked, and now it's up ahead to Nutting again, looking for maybe a hat trick. She'll pass it this time out to center. Unfortunately, though, Jamie Peterson couldn't handle the pass. Another shot on goal. This one is saved by Marissa Galoo. Is now Jefferson getting some good scoring opportunities here in this second half, as we have 28.5 minutes left. 2-0, the Jaguars lead Apple Valley here on PSB. Spinning is Erica Power as she tries to work her way towards the Jefferson net. She tried to dump it off to Sydney Bethke, too far in front of her. And then also to contend, she had a couple of Jefferson defenders, so it would have been a tough pass anyways. Upcoming schedule for both teams. Bloomington Jefferson has a couple of road games later on this week. Take on Chanhassen on Thursday. Battle between two future rivals in the new Metro West Conference. Both Chanhassen and Jefferson will play in the Metro West Conference next season. Jefferson also next Monday will have a road game at Rosemount. That game played at Rosemount High School, of course. Apple Valley, on the other hand, they have a couple of home games to round out the week. They'll take on Hastings on Saturday and also Burnsville next Tuesday. Running chance for Bloomington Jefferson. Apple Valley defense will win the race to the ball, and Apple Valley players shoved to the ground. It'll be their possession, as we have just under 27 minutes to go here in the second half. Jefferson with a 2-0 lead over Apple Valley. Play back, and now up ahead to Isabel Nutting, a race to the ball, but Marissa Galoo wins the race. She'll dive on it and quickly punt it out towards midfield. It's kicked right back in by Jefferson. Good play, though, by Blair Thompson. Blair Thompson along the near sideline. Will turn it over, though, to Jefferson's Tanazaid, but we'll get a whistle, and it will be Apple Valley ball. Goes out of bounds to Bloomington Jefferson on the throw-in. It'll be Andra Johnson. One of the two captains here on the Jefferson squad, Andra Johnson and Erica Beek, are the two captains on the team. Stolen away by Megan Summers. Summers tried to dump it off for a teammate, turned over though to the Eagles. Now the Eagles with a running start into the Jefferson zone. It's Blair Thompson. Thompson from the near side has to battle it out with one Jefferson player. She'll just dump it in though. Out of bounds. Tough play as Blair Thompson, as you can see, not what she wanted to do as she's down in that crouch position. So Jefferson will get the throw in here with 25 minutes to go, second half. They lead this game 2-0. Goes out of bounds, and it will be Apple Valley ball.
Hannah Wimet and number 17, Alyssa Reynolds, checking in for the Eagles.
So a number of substitutions for Apple Valley. Both teams giving their players plenty of opportunities here in this game early in the season, trying to see what combinations will work out. Just the fourth game of the season for both squads. And it's not a very long high school soccer season. Usually only about 15 or 16 games, so not a lot of time to figure things out. So gotta take advantage of these early games to try to figure out those combinations. Throwing it in for Bloomington Jefferson will be Lindsay Werner. Werner's pass intercepted in the air as it's headed down by Blair Thompson. Collision at about the 35-yard line comes away to Bloomington Jefferson, Apple Valley's Erica Power. Power still with the ball, trying to get it up ahead to Blair Thompson. A little miscommunication there as it's turned over to the Jefferson defense. Thompson can't quite steal it away from the Jaguars. Now Jefferson in transition will lose possession and we'll get a whistle. And it looks like it will be a Bloomington Jefferson ball with 23.5 minutes to go here in the ball game. Apple Valley in need of some offense, as the Jaguars have been opportunistic offensively. Scoring a goal about 5 minutes into the game by Isabel Nutting. And then Nutting scored again a little over 5 minutes into the second half, so been some early goals for Bloomington Jefferson. I should say the second goal scored by Nutting actually came about 10 minutes into the second half. And it'll be kicked out of bounds, and it will be Apple Valley ball. Pretty comfortable day here at Jefferson High School on the turf field. Temperature upper 70s, low 80s, I'd call it. Not a whole lot of wind. Humidity not too bad. Definitely take this weather after that a very hot spell we had here in the Twin Cities for about the past week. Sydney Bramer will pass it over to Lindsey Johnson. Johnson will dump it into the Apple Valley zone. Giving chase is Tana Omet. Omet won't chase it down in time. Won't matter, though, as it'll be a goal kick for Apple Valley. As booting it out towards midfield is Marissa Galou. You can see in this game, very aggressive goalkeeper who's not afraid to run out and try to cut off those angles. Will be played back to Marissa Galou. She'll have possession of it. Galou, big boot in the air, is headed back into the Apple Valley zone by number 11, Lindsey Johnson. Battle for the ball as Bloomington Jefferson's Madeline Simonette couldn't make a move around an Apple Valley defender. Good job to just send it back in by Andra Johnson. It'll go into the goalkeeper, though, Marissa Galou, as no one was there on that attempt. Halfway through the second half, 20 minutes to go. Jefferson with a 2-0 lead over Apple Valley, but now the Eagles with a chance here on a 1-on-3 running opportunity as Erica Power will finally run out of real estate as it's turned over to the Jefferson defense. Now Jefferson in transition. They'll get up to about the 40-yard line where their momentum is stopped, and they'll lose the ball, in fact, as it's played up ahead along the near side or far side. Make that Erica Power. Power looking for help from a teammate as she'll dump it off to Alyssa Reynolds. Goes out of bounds, though, off a Jefferson player, as Apple Valley will maintain possession here on the throw-in. Along the far side, dribbling with it is a Bloomington Jefferson player, as it'll be dumped in towards that corner. At least waste some more time, as we're now under 19 minutes here to go in this second half, as Jefferson has a 2-0 lead. Kicked towards the Jefferson bench. They'll go out of bounds and be Jefferson ball, as it looks like Jefferson will make a substitution or two. Get word here from the PA announcer. Thrown in by Bloomington Jefferson on the centering attempt from the throw-in. Scrum for the ball comes away to Apple Valley as they'll clear it out towards about the 40-yard line, but sent back in. Now a big kick will go out of bounds, and it'll be a goal kick for Marissa Galou of Apple Valley. Oh, I'm sorry, they're actually going to rule it a corner kick, as apparently it went off an Apple Valley player. Perhaps Galou, so a chance here for Jefferson to try to extend that 2-0 lead. Here is the corner kick, no one home. As the ball will go over the net. And it'll be a goal kick for Apple Valley. This time it indeed is a goal kick and not a corner kick. Taking a look at how Jefferson and Apple Valley have fared against each other over the years. Apple Valley undefeated in their past 3 contests against Bloomington Jefferson. These two teams have played once each during the past 3 seasons, I should say. Apple Valley winning 2 games and then tying another. Prior to that, though, Jefferson had won the 2 previous games. So 2010, 2011, 2012, Apple Valley was undefeated against Jefferson. But in 08 and in 09, Jefferson got the victory over the Eagles, and now Jefferson in the driver's seat to try to get back on the winning track here against Apple Valley with this 2-0 lead. As Apple Valley, sure they'll go back to the drawing board if they can't find a way to come back in this game, as they would potentially start the season 0-3-1. Tough start for a team that had some high expectations with 10 returning starters. Even though so far they're 0-2-1, both of those losses were just 1-goal games. Under 16 minutes to go here in the second half. A few more substitutions for both teams. As it looks like for Apple Valley, Gallmeyer will re-enter the game. Hallie Gallmeyer was one of the original starters in this game for Apple Valley. As it'll go out of bounds and be Bloomington Jefferson ball. Throwing it in for Apple Valley will be Laura Edgren. It'll be headed by Bethke. Almost out of bounds save though. Now Edgren tried to deflect it out in front. Nobody home though. The nearest player was Julia Lamb, but she couldn't quite get there in time as it'll go out of bounds and be Bloomington Jefferson ball. So here's the boot by Jefferson. It'll go through the legs of number 10, Maggie Daggert. Battle for the ball between Sydney Bramer and Kristen Nelson. Apple Valley comes away with it. Here from the near side, number 23, Hallie Gallmeyer. Gallmeyer still with it, works her way around a couple of Jefferson players. Now fires it at the net, deflected out. Perhaps, I know she'll just miss the net straight up, so it'll be Bloomington Jefferson ball. Good effort though by Gallmeyer to work her way around a couple of defenders to at least create the scoring chance. Chasing down the ball will be number 11, Tana Omet. It'll go back to the goalkeeper, Galoo. Taken away, though, by Jefferson and kicked into the air by Megan Summers down towards the right side. Well, we'll get a whistle on the play, though. Jefferson may have been offside, so Apple Valley will get possession. 13 minutes on the dot to go here in this game. 2-0 Jefferson with the lead over Apple Valley. Kicked beyond midfield into Bloomington Jefferson territory. Rolling and rolling and rolling along that far sideline. Ball doesn't go out of bounds. It stays alive. And now here's Jefferson. I'll turn it over, though, at midfield. Now, a 2-on-3, perhaps, for Apple Valley. They're not able to start it quick enough, though, as it goes back to Jefferson. And Jefferson will turn it right back over to Apple Valley. Now on a quick running start, a race for the ball. Still a loose ball, but it's kicked away out of danger by the Jefferson defense. Maybe the best scoring chance we've seen for Apple Valley so far in this game. Unfortunately, though, for Apple Valley, Jaguars were able to kick it out of harm's way momentarily, but here comes Apple Valley right back on the attack. It'll be Stephanie Severson. Severson will lose it. Now it's sent out towards midfield. Jefferson not using a whole lot of attackers with this 2-0 lead and less than 12 minutes to go in this game. Looking like they're only going to play with about 1 or 2 attackers here for the rest of this ball game. And now Apple Valley will have to chase it down in their own end. That'll waste precious more time here in this game, as it'll be kicked along the far sideline. It'll go out of bounds and be Bloomington Jefferson ball.
Isabel Nutting
And it sounds like
in for the Jaguars.
Jefferson will make a couple of substitutions, including Isabel Nutting, who checks back into the game as the senior attack player, as both Jefferson goals here in this ball game. Booted out towards midfield. It'll be Jefferson with the ball, headed up ahead to Nutting. And Nutting will watch it go almost out of bounds. Good job, though. Good hustle by Jefferson overall. Now it's back to Nutting. Here's Nutting with a chance, but she's offside. Just a little bit ahead of the play. It's going to be another good scoring chance for Nutting, trying to look for that hat trick. As we've got 10 minutes to go here in this game, Apple Valley, they've had the time of possession battle won, but Jefferson on defense has done a nice job in this game. Despite the time of possession edge, outside of that one chance we saw a couple of minutes ago, it's not been many scoring opportunities here for Apple Valley in this game. Kicked up ahead about the 25-yard line, but sent back out towards midfield. On the far sideline, they'll kick it out to a midfielder, and that's Megan Summers. Summers will send it in down deep, and it will roll just out of bounds on the left side. Looks like it will be Apple Valley ball from deep in their own territory. Turned over there on the throw, and this could be dangerous. Here's Nutting. Nutting tried to pass it off. She does indeed pass it off cleanly to Sydney Bramer. Here's Bramer with a shot deflected, though. Good block by the Apple Valley defense. Comes right back out to Jefferson. And it'll be Megan Summers. Summers trying to spin her way around an Apple Valley defender at about the 30-yard line. Spins right and breaks free, but her shot deflected into the arms of goalkeeper Marissa Galoo. And sent out towards midfield with 8.5 minutes to go here in this second half. Jefferson with a 2-0 lead over Apple Valley here on PSBMN.com. Game also being streamed on BEC TV. So glad to have you with us, whether you're watching along on our PSBMN.com website or on BEC TV, one of the cable channels they have this game streamed on. As we heard from the PA announcer, both teams going with a number of substitutions now. As the clock will be momentarily stopped here with 8:27 to go. And as it'll be kicked in towards the Apple Valley net. And booted way up into the air. Battling forward Sydney Bethke among others for Apple Valley. Now up to Jefferson's Jamie Peterson. Over to Lindsey Johnson. Johnson loses it though for a moment. Now a battle for the ball near that 40-yard line on the Apple Valley half of the field. Comes away to Jefferson. around one defender, but not two, as it's kicked out towards mid, but sent back in. Now a battle for the ball. As we have under 7 minutes to go here in this game. Clock still running with 6.5 as it's inbounded to Jefferson near center. And for Apple Valley, it'll be Erica Power. Power loses it, now up ahead to Jefferson as they've really put on the pressure over the past few minutes, even with having that 2-0 lead. Nutting will try to throw it at the net. Nothing on it, though, really. As now it's played out towards midfield. Now a possible break for Apple Valley. As the ball will trickle out of bounds and be Apple Valley ball. Good centering chance and a shot, and it goes just wide of the net. Another good scoring chance for Apple Valley. Five and a half minutes to go. Eagles running out of time, but now getting some offense. Deflected away, though, by the Jefferson defense. They'll be kicked out towards midfield and booted back into the Jefferson end. Jefferson trying to hold off a last-minute Apple Valley attack with less than 5 minutes to go here in this game. Like that, thanking the ball dads, as they call them. Must be tough to play the game without anyone around the track chasing down those balls that go out of bounds. And we'll get a whistle on the field, and it will be a Bloomington Jefferson ball with just a little over 4 minutes left in this game. Big kick in towards the Apple Valley zone. Apple Valley will win possession. And now back in towards the Jefferson zone. 3:45 to go here in the game. Yeah, it's kicked high into the air. Both teams will battle for it. As it'll come down to Bloomington Jefferson's Megan Summers. Summers lost it. Now it goes back to a Jefferson defender. And deflected out of the air. Jefferson went about a 2-on-2 on a clean pass, but good job by the Apple Valley defense to break that up. It'll be Julia Lamb running in for Apple Valley. She leaves it up ahead for a teammate. 2-on-2 chance. A shot fired on and deflected just wide by the goaltender, Kristen Vierling. And it'll be a corner kick for Apple Valley with under 3 minutes to go. As Laura Edgren will have the corner for the Eagles. Big chance here to try to cut that lead in half here on this corner kick. And off the corner, sent towards the net, but redirected out of the danger zone. As it'll go out of bounds, Apple Valley with possession. Trying to get some last-minute offense going. Comes away to Bloomington Jefferson. Isabel Nutting. She'll send it back to a teammate. Up left side to Andra Johnson. And kicked up into the air. It'll go out of bounds as we have about 1:50 to go here in the game, with Jefferson leading Apple Valley 2-0 here on PSBMN.com. Into the air, a couple players battle for it. It rolls, and it will almost go out of bounds. Not quite, though. Play stays alive. Now the referee does finally blow it dead. It'll be Apple Valley ball as we're down to 91 seconds to go here in this game. Hear the PA announcer saying less than a minute to go here in the game. Jefferson hanging on to that 2-0 lead. They have possession with it now. Perhaps a good scoring chance as it comes away to Andra Johnson. She'll put a weak shot on net, easily stopped by Marissa Galoo. And she'll quickly boot it out towards midfield. Well, I guess you might call it over the back, as it should be Jefferson ball. As they might say, Sydney Bethke was going over the back of a Jefferson player, trying to get that ball out of the air. As we have 24 seconds to go here in the game. It'll be sent into the Jefferson end. Galoo will field it on one bounce. Kick it back out to midfield with 7 seconds to go. As we'll go back and forth here between the midfield areas, and now the final whistle will blow, and Bloomington Jefferson comes away with a 2-0 lead over Apple Valley here on PSBMN.com. We'll have an archive of this game available on our PSBMN.com website. And also don't forget, we'll have coverage of Jefferson boys soccer on September 24th, and also Jefferson football this Friday night as they take on Apple Valley. And coming up next, if you're watching on BEC TV, is boys soccer, as we'll have the nightcap of our soccer doubleheader with Jefferson taking on opponent tonight. You can check that out on BEC TV. As Jefferson will be taking on Apple Valley. That would make sense. So a Jefferson-Apple Valley doubleheader. The girls' game here, the boys' game up next at Bloomington Stadium. You can catch that on BEC TV. Or, of course, also go to Bloomington Stadium in person. Thanks for tuning in, though, to this game, as this girls' soccer game is in the